Welcome everyone to an epic showdown between myself as the Ogre Kingdoms going up against Frederick as Khorne. Now we're going to be playing on the Khorne Wastelands, so a bit of a home advantage here for Frederick. So starting very wide here on either flank, we are going to have 4 units of the Flesh Hounds, so 2 here on either side, and it looks like also some Exalted Bloodletters and Bloodletters on the flank. So the regular Bloodletters, good anti-infantry, armor piercing as well. They will struggle up against the larger faction of the Ogre Kingdoms. The Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne as well, quite expensive, 1,200 gold. They're anti-infantry and armor piercing. Ogres are rather large and don't really have too much armor, but they do have the Hellblade, so they can increase that base weapon damage and armor piercing when they get more than 80 kills. In the middle, we are going to have 3 units of the Khorne Halberds. One here directly in the middle, which are going to be sandwiched between the Herald of Khorne and the Cultist. So the Cultist here is going to be on horseback. That's going to make him a little bit tankier. Also, that mobility increasing with that charge bonus makes him a much better melee combatant. He's going to be having Frenzy alongside the Gate of Khorne, coming with one of the summons of the Bloodletters. So for the Lord Choice, he's going to be on foot with that ginormous Hellblade, nearly as big as him himself, but he is going to be having the Revel in Slaughter, the Hellblade, as well as the Locus of Wrath. Here in the backside, we are also going to be having some Spawn of Khorne. I think Spawn of Khorne are very, very good up against the Ogre Kingdoms. Very lightly armored, that 190 weapon strength. It doesn't really have much armor piercing, so it would do very good here up against the Ogre Balls. In the front here for me, 4 units of the Ogre Balls with the anti-infantry. The dual weapons are very, very good here up against Khorne. Also, they're going to be backed up by Noble Archer. You can see one here on each. That's going to be dissipating the damage amongst the Ogre Ball ranks. Now, we can see in the middle 3 units of the armor-piercing lead belchers. 200 armor-piercing range here. Those hand cannons are very powerful, really good at getting through that thick, meaty armor of Khorne. For the Lord Choice, we are going to be having the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. He's going to be bringing the Belly Slapper, -8 melee attack, which is rather strong there in a 30-meter radius, as well as the Blood Claw to get some good healing for him alongside the Blood Cleaver. For the spells, we're going to be having Troll Guts, as well as the Bone Crusher and extra ingredients. In the backside, for a bit of protection and mobility, 4 units of the Saber Tusk packs. Now, quite a lot of ways that people like to play this. They like to get Furies, or in this fact, actually Flesh Hounds in and amongst the back, taking down the lead belchers. So what I use here is the Saber Tusk to protect this backhand line. Now, on the flanks, we're going to have 2 very heavily armored Iron Guts, 90 armor, 100 armor piercing weapon strength, and they're not anti-large or really anti-infantry, but they're very, very stable and very reliable troops indeed. It's going to be 1,000 gold cost that is really going to have to pay for itself. So we charge forward here. The lead belchers really wanted to fire upon the halberds in the front. I believe I dedicate each lead belcher down the line, firing up against the halberds of Khorne. Now they're going to be charging forward, seeing so much damage coming onto the one on the left-hand flank, some damage coming onto the right-hand flank now, and then some into the middle pocket. Now, additionally, coming on the flanks, the Bloodletters can come round and they can do some pretty good work here up against the Iron Guts. They have enough armor piercing to kind of drag themselves through and, do some pretty good damage. And they have the model count as well. Iron Guts coming at 16 models probably isn't ideal to be fighting up against the Bloodletters. The Exalted coming on the right as well. We can see a little bit slow here from my opponent. One thing I'd say from Frederick is you definitely want to get these Flesh Hounds coming up and round. There is a key code that you can use to get them up and around and kind of following in a J pattern. Get them in and around in behind the trees and, kind of get them hidden out of sight. Now we can see some more kind of holding here. You definitely want to have the front line hitting as the back line hits with the Flesh Hounds. But of course, it takes quite a lot of micro. It is quite difficult. And we do see here, of course, being on a horse here, the Cultist is going to get compromised. So we do move in with the Saber Tusk. So don't want that hero there getting in the back amongst the lead belchers. But a good summon here. Bloodletters really compromising the lead belchers, preventing them from firing into the front line. But we do see here a bit of a devastating note. We do see some halberds falling in the front. 2 have fallen here. And the 3rd is also now going to fall behind. Spawn of Khorne going to be fighting, but they're getting shot here by lead belchers. And they're going to get shredded pretty quickly. Big targets, not much armor. They're going to feel the full force here of the lead belchers. We are going to see some halberds coming on the left-hand side, backed up by the Exalted Bloodletters, but of course it's going to be full cannon fire here at the front, really shredding through the infantry. That's going to be 1.2k there going into the dusk. And we do see in the backside, Saber Tusk going to be fighting up against Flesh Hounds. And I do actually push in the back here. I kind of get my own charge bonus of 36 up against the Flesh Hounds. They actually have a higher charge bonus of 46. So I'm just trying to make sure here that I meet my opponent. I get the charge, and it's a very, very cost-efficient trade here for me. 70 weapon strength here for the Saber Tusk, going up against 65, but of course you do have physical resistance for the Flesh Hounds. So it can be a pretty interesting engagement. I will Rampage, which sometimes can allow you to hold a little bit longer into combat, but we do see in the back here, really pushing through. The Flesh Hounds are going to do a bit of a number. We do have some dual weapons in the front, kind of fighting here. A bit of a micro mistake there for me, being that we have one. I do need to get these dual weapons into the back, fighting up against the Flesh Hounds. In the middle, my Lord Choice is going to be slicing and dicing, buttering the bread here of the Spawn of Khorne. The big bad boys with the arm swings here, 190 weapon strength and unbreakable, really embodying Khorne and carnage as they rampage here in the middle, fighting up against my legendary Ogre Balls. On the left-hand side, we do shatter some of the Halberds. Halberd's going to be chasing off my Iron Guts as well. That is the ideal target. They're going to be large and armoured, which is, you know, very, very good here if you're going to be wielding a Halberd. Now, we do have the Ogre Ball dual weapons, kind of cleaning up crew in the backside here. A little bit of lackluster on the micromanagement there from me. We do have Rampage for the Saber Tusks going up against the Cultists of Khorne. He has been broken. I've kind of prevented him from getting in the back and causing all that mass damage. In the middle, the Iron Guts going to be pushing forward, trying to fight here up against the Halberds. Not great for them, but of course they do have good armor-piercing weapon strength. They're going to be charging through, trying to protect the Lead Belchers. I've actually kind of pushed them through the middle pocket because there was kind of nowhere to call home. And as you can see here, dual weapons and Noblars going to be returning on the battlefield. A nice, good macro look on the battlefield. We do actually use some of the Noblars here from me to push them across some of the Halberds across the battlefield. I wanted to get a nice chip unit that has speed to kind of push off a more expensive unit. In the backside, we do see Saber Tusks. Probably could charge it, finish off the Exalted Bloodletters. They're going to be wavering, not looking too strong here. And we can see in the back there, Spawn of Khorne getting cleaned up. And it looks like the Saber Tusks are going to reign supreme. Finish off some of the Halberds here. We are going to be dissipating. That is army losses. GG's and well played to my opponent here with Frederick. It was a really, really good game. This here was a training game, the first one of two, I believe. The second game was an absolutely epic game that I believe a Rubber Duck of Warcast, where we had double Sentinels going up against I forget what they're called now, the double Stonehorns, that's it, yeah, they were fighting up against double Stonehorns, and it was an epic duel for sure, and maybe I'll cast that myself in the future. It was such a good game, and, you know, Frederick is a student of a Rubber Duck of War, and, you know, I pop in every now and then and play when I can. And yeah, this was another great game, and I think he really wanted to go down up against the Ogre Kingdoms. I believe it was Khorne ban Nurgle, so I believe that's where Ogre Kingdoms came from. I think it was going to be either them or Kislev for me, but we do see 470, 830, 1100 for the Lead Belchers. They were certainly a focus point here for Khorne. I think for the most part, shut them down really, really well. 670 there for the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. And we can see there 580 and 400 for the Iron Guns. So Iron Guns probably not best in this matchup, but still, we, you know, I brought a bit of a defensive build that I, you know, really wanted to have a bit of tank that it would hold and, you know, do relatively well. Most of the forces of Khorne are armor piercing, and those that aren't generally don't actually have much armor, so it's a bit of an interesting one. Maybe I shouldn't consider these in the future, but either way, 360, 750, 950 and 455 there for the Ogre Ball dual weapons, doing pretty well overall. 750, 980, 280 and 420 for the Saber Tusks, with 130, 160, 160 and 250 for the Noblars. So yeah, the Noblars just really dissipate a lot of damage coming on top of the dual weapons. You can see it's all relatively healthy here. I'm sure we've probably got some more value, but of course a lot of these units do dissipate back to the realms of Khorne. Now we do see the Herald of Khorne here coming 650, 180 for the Cultists of Khorne, with 780 as well as 180, 118 and 140 with 128 kills, 914. So one of them really getting in there and doing some very, very good work indeed. 540 for the Spawn of Khorne, with 1033 there for the Exalted Bloodletters, 620 for the Bloodletters of Khorne as well. So these two actually doing relatively well, considering, you know, they do pay for a lot of bonus for this infantry. We are going to see 440, 470, 130, and 460 for the Flesh Hounds. The Flesh Hounds are quite expensive. I think Furies can do a bit of a number here as well on Lead Belchers. I think they're certainly very highly cost efficient. Same here with Flesh Hounds as well. Maybe a mixture between the two, maybe saving some money there, or maybe actually just going a little bit more mobility rather. You know, you can certainly save more of your Halberds. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please smash that like button. Feel free to leave a comment down below and subscribe already if you haven't. A lot of you guys have been absolutely smashing that subscribe button, so thank you so much for doing that recently. It really does help on the channel. Other than that, I've been your boy Logic. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all very, very soon.